So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Q&A. Very excited for this one. So, with no further ado, let's get straight into it. Question number one is a very simple one. What color is going to be the clothes from Gadzhi season 3? So season 3 is going to be like this heathery black marl. It's like I don't know if you guys have ever seen my Rag and Bone t-shirts. It's just like a lightweight, just kind of off black. So yeah, definitely our best collection. Yeah, very excited for that. But that'll be out probably mid/end of October. Next question is, how often are you doing a 24-hour water fast or something like that? So in general, usually around like once a month, I'll do a 48-hour water fast. I actually did one last week. I did a 48-hour fast. First 36 hours of that was dry, and then the last 12 was water. Funnily enough, I found the first 36 hours the easiest. I don't know why. Like once I drink water after a dry fast, like I don't know, at that point, like I just really, that's kind of when the hunger cravings come and whatnot. Funnily enough, in my first 36 hours, like dry, I'm totally fine, no issues. So yeah, as a general rule, I usually do it around once a month, just for a whole host of reasons. Just giving your liver a break, just finally letting your body just kind of repair and take care of itself, to be honest. And then just from a almost discipline and spiritual perspective, it's incredible just to fast and just take control of your mind and realize that a lot of times hunger for most people is boredom, and it's not that you're actually hungry or you need to eat. Now going forward, I'm actually going to be doing a 24-hour dry fast every single weekend, which isn't really that big of a deal. Usually I do a 16-hour fasting window anyways. Like I do intermittent fasting, so rather than fasting for 16 hours, I fast for 24 hours. It's just rather than, you know, having water in that time, I'm just doing a dry fast. For me, like a dry fast, 24 hours is really easy, super simple. And the main reason I'm doing that is because right now I'm doing a lot of healing detox protocols for my autoimmune condition. I got psoriasis at the time of recording this around like 2.5 months ago. It's been pretty crappy. Like it's all over like my arms, all over my arms here, legs, stuff like that. And if you go to any doctor, I mean, even leading dermatologist doctors, they'll all tell you it's incurable, which is just, in my opinion, BS. I mean, in all fairness, 99% of people never do cure it, but I know that you can heal every single ailment yourself. And mine actually came about because of a tattoo, but that's you know, once I heal the psoriasis, I'll make a full video on how I did it, etc. But one of the protocols within that is right now I'm actually only eating meat, which once again also sounds crazy, but I've mentioned that before in another video. But I'm actually really enjoying it, and I'm feeling better than I've ever felt in my entire life. But for sure, eating only meat, I think in your first like 3 months, you do still get a bit of sugar cravings and stuff like that. Because keep in mind, right now I'm basically on 0 carbs, 0 sugar. I've also cut out caffeine. Like I'm on, you know, any sort of like stimulus, like I've cut out basically. So doing a 24-hour dry fast every single week, obviously it's great just in terms of detoxing and healing, but outside of that, it's also really good for me as a reset to then appreciate going back to meat. And like, yes, technically just eating meat is quite like bland and it's not very exciting, especially just because right now I'm not like drinking tea or, you know, no caffeine, nothing like that. Like I have a very boring diet at the moment. So doing a 24-hour fast, then going back to, you know, eating steak and meat and this and that, I feel a little bit more gratitude for my food. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing at the moment. So next question is real question. When you meet women, do you talk about your business? If so, how much? Not really, to be honest. Like if it comes up in conversation, it also depends on like whether I met this girl like through social circle, you know, through like my friends, or whether I met her at a party and then we exchange Instagram. And then, you know, obviously over the space of a few weeks, she's gonna, I mean, no girl basically ever understands what I do ever.
So don't even act like you know what I'm talking about.
But like, you know, she's gonna come to understand that like I have a business and like, you know, kind of get a general gist. But if I'm, you know, I've just met a girl out at like a bar or a restaurant or a club, you know, if it comes up in conversation, sure. But like, you know, it's not like a leeway into like, oh, by the way, I'm a business owner. And, you know, most of the time when I meet someone, like it's just a lot to explain to them. Like, oh, I have a business that does this, you know, unless the conversation flows that way. If they ask like, oh, what do you do? I just say, oh, I'm in the advertising industry. But I say nothing else outside of that, unless they try to continue the conversation that way. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you know, this is just some random person you met on a night out or at a bar or a restaurant, and the conversation doesn't end up going any further than that, then who cares whether they know what you do? And if the conversation does end up going further than that, then inevitably they're going to find out what you do anyways. So I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs just like vomit out every single thing about them. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs just like start talking about their business and this and that. And it's just like, I don't know, I'm just far more concerned about commonalities and whatnot, and if that ends up later down the line being business or whatever, sure, that's cool, but I'm just trying to connect with people and enjoy their company and not really have to tie business into there, or try to be like, oh, I'm a business owner, blah blah. Like, people just kind of see through that, to be honest. Next question is, when asked what superpower you would want to have, you said the ability to book meetings, not to close. I don't think I said book meetings, and I think maybe I just said, for me, booking meetings is more important. But why is it so difficult to find qualified leads and book meetings? How could you speed up the process and get constant meetings as someone in the beginning stages? So all I'm saying there is what is true, which is, at the end of the day, appointment setting is far more important than sales is, in my opinion. 70% of the close happens before they even get on the call, in the sense that, like, they have to be ready as a company and they have to be bought into the service. And there's so many environmental things that need to happen prior to that call for them to even consider it. Doesn't matter if you're the best agency in the world or the worst agency in the world. Doesn't matter whether you're great at objection handling or you're terrible at objection handling. So, my point is that if you get enough meetings, like, inevitably you're going to close them based on a certain percentage count. So if you can focus on anything as sort of the most important aspect of your agency, consistently setting up meetings is the most important thing. Now, you ask, how can you speed it up? Well, the easiest way that you can speed it up is find what outreach method suits your personality type the best and you are getting the best results with. So if you start an agency that services restaurants, then what I want you to do is I want you to try cold calling. I want you to try cold email and cold loom. Try a plethora of different outreach methods. Find which one works best for you based on the numbers, and you should be tracking all this stuff. And once you've identified that, then you should have a barometer as to, hey, I make X amount. Let's say I make 100 cold calls and I set up 3 meetings on average from that. And from those 3 meetings, on average, I'll end up closing 1 client. With that knowledge in mind, that for every 100 meetings, historically, you end up closing a client. And then with those numbers in mind, it's very, very easy to scale. I was speaking with a copy-paste agency student last night, and we were talking, and he was basically running me through his numbers. And in August, he did 108 looms, set, I believe it was 11 meetings, and signed 3 clients from that. So, with those numbers in mind, he just has to do that and just do more volume from it. So that's really my point here, is once you know your numbers, it's really just about pushing volume. And really knowing your numbers also gives you that motivation to keep pushing, because you know that it's not so much about like whether you get lucky or whatever. It's more just literally, if I do X amount of outreach, it will equate historically to X amount in meetings, and those X amount of meetings will historically equate to X amount of sales. And the last question is question I haven't seen you answer. What are your beliefs, your view on religion, and your perspective on the spiritual side of life, if you have one? Now, I'm a very spiritual person. Well, I say very spiritual, but I've always, my entire life, been very open to the spiritual side of things. I've read texts all the way from the Bible to the Kabbalion, studied the Taoist principles and teachings, and study different philosophies of life, like Stoicism. And really, I like to pull in all of that stuff together now. Am I religious per se? Not really. I have a Bible somewhere laying around here. I have a Quran upstairs in my office. And at the moment, I'm just reading a bunch of different religious texts. Religion is such a triggering topic for so many people. And I don't really have any dogma about it. I like to study all the different religions. And for right now, I haven't picked one. Definitely in the future, I will commit to religion, because I do, in the purest sense, I am a fan of religion, and I think it gives people guidance. I think for a lot of people, unfortunately, religion is this thing where they're like, oh, it's fine, religion will just take care of me. I don't believe in that at all. In the same way, when you just look at all these spiritual woo-woo people, they're like, oh, I'm just going to manifest it. I'm like, no, that's not really going to work. But I think especially for someone like me, who's very type A and who's very a go-getter, I think religion at its core is a chance for you to tap into higher consciousness. And you know, religious texts like the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, really what these are, you know, they're playbooks for how to live life in accordance to what's been brought down from God. And whether you consider that a person or literally just higher consciousness, was brought down through these different prophets, you know, Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus Christ, all these different prophets. And for me, all religions are real, and all these prophets were real people, and all of these texts are all real texts. And I mean, in all of these texts itself, it says that there are multiple different prophets. So, you know, I think for most people, if you kind of know this stuff, you can agree that there is a God. You can agree that all these religions are valid and all of these prophets existed. It's just which prophet do you think took all that higher level of consciousness and most accurately portrayed that information and put it down into these playbooks. So I think if you're religious or spiritual at all, you can acknowledge all of that. Or you're on the atheist side and you just think that this is all BS and whatnot. And I totally respect that as well too. You know, honestly, whatever you believe, but I just don't personally prescribe to the fact that like we came here from this big bang, that all of this stems from the big bang, and that everything that's around us and that the symbiotic relationship between every single living organism on Earth, just like the perfect symbiosis between it all, is just a byproduct of human evolution. Like, I don't know, I just don't really believe in it. You know, I just don't really buy it. I think we are here for a reason, and I think there is a higher consciousness. Once again, I don't know if I view God as this single entity, or whether it's just this overarching higher level of consciousness. I don't know yet. I'm still very early into my days when it comes to religious reading and text and whatnot. And I would politely ask you that in the comments, or like, you know, if you ever respond to my DMs or whatever, sometimes I post photos of like different religious books or spiritual books on my table, on my coffee table or whatever. You know, just don't talk my ear off. Like, I think the most beautiful thing is when I said someone can take the time to really educate themselves and then see what religion or what sort of a philosophy of life that they prescribe to. And I think that should be someone's personal private journey. So yeah, that's kind of my view on religion, spirituality, etc., etc. I am not, I wouldn't consider myself per se religious at the moment. I'm studying all the different religions, and I think definitely there will be, within the next 5 years, there will be one specific religion that I tap into and I commit to, and I decide, okay, this is the sort of way that I want to live my life. And yeah, I want to live my life in accordance to these religious principles. So hopefully that makes sense. I wish religion wasn't such a touchy subject for so many people. As I said, I feel as though if everyone understood that, and once again, this excludes the people who don't believe in religion or are atheists or whatever. Like, I respect that too, but I think life would just be so much easier if every religion or religious person understood that all of the religions are correct. It's just which one you decide is correct to you. It would be so much easier if everyone realized that all religions are true. It's just which religion do you prescribe to or resonate with the most. So yeah, ladies and gents, that pretty much wraps it up for today's Q&A. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Down below, you'll find the winner for the gadget giveaway. And as always, if you want to be entered to win, all you have to do is hit subscribe, turn on post notifications, and comment within the first 1 to 2 hours of the new video going live. Appreciate all you guys. I'll see you in the next one.